Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into the brilliant, often baffling, and always provocative world of the philosopher Slavoj Žižek, specifically his book, The Puppet and the Dwarf. So right off the bat, Žižek hits us with a really jarring question. What if the very core of Christianity isn't what we think it is? What if it's not about peace and salvation, but about something way more disruptive, something he actually calls perverse? So how does he even get there? Well, he kicks things off with this comparison that's frankly designed to shock. He wants us to see Christianity not as a religion of quiet faith, but as a full-blown revolutionary political movement. I mean, look at this. He puts St. Paul, the guy who basically built early Christianity, right next to Vladimir Lenin, the leader of the Bolshevik Revolution. And you're probably thinking, why? Well, Žižek argues they did the same thing. They both took a radical, world-shattering idea and gave it a structure. They institutionalized a complete break from the old way of doing things.
Okay, but why does any of this matter to us, right now? For Žižek, this radical view of Christianity is actually an answer to a uniquely modern problem, a kind of emptiness that probably feels pretty familiar.
You know that feeling? He points right at that strange hollowness at the heart of our consumer culture, where we're constantly offered the form of something, but with its actual substance totally scooped out. Just think about it. We have coffee without the caffeine. You get the whole ritual, the warm mug, the smell, but you're missing the very kick that makes it coffee in the first place.
Or, beer without alcohol. You get the bottle, you get the social experience of having a beer with friends, but without the one thing that actually defines the drink. And this is where Žižek really takes it to the next level. He suggests this is the formula for modern life itself. We get something that looks like a fulfilling life on the outside, but it's missing that deep, substantive core. It's the promise of fulfillment, but not the real deal.
And his metaphor for this is just perfect. The Kinder Egg. The chocolate shell, that's the sweet, enticing promise our culture gives us. But what's inside? A cheap, plastic toy that's, let's be honest, always a bit of a letdown. It just never lives up to the promise of the chocolate.
All right, so if we're all living in this Kinder Egg world, how on earth does Christianity offer a way out? To really get his argument, we just need to grab two key ideas from his philosophical toolbox. First up, there's this concept he borrows from the psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan called the real. Now, this isn't reality as we usually think of it. The real is all the traumatic, messy, chaotic stuff that our nice, neat reality, our laws, our language, is designed to cover up. It's the glitch in the matrix, the part that's not supposed to be there. And second, historical materialism. This is basically a Marxist idea that says our big beliefs, our philosophies, our religions, they don't just pop out of nowhere. No, they are fundamentally shaped by concrete, real-world, nitty-gritty struggles over power, resources, and justice. Our beliefs are powered by conflict.
Okay, so we've got our tools, the real and historical materialism. Now let's put them to work and see how Žižek builds his central, really provocative argument about what makes Christianity so subversive.
So if most social systems are built to hide that traumatic void, to hide the real, Žižek argues that Christianity does the exact opposite. Its true power, its so-called perverse core, comes from staring directly into that abyss. And to really hammer this point home, he contrasts it with Eastern spirituality. He argues that a tradition like Buddhism seeks inner peace by kind of building a symbolic wall to keep out all that disruptive stuff. But Christianity, in his reading, just smashes the wall down. It doesn't just confront the disturbing element, it invites it in and makes it part of the very structure. And what happens when you stare into that void? You get what he calls an excess of life. This is what St. Paul meant by agape, a radical, unconditional love that just completely breaks the simple logic of law and sin. It's a love that's just too much for any neat system to handle.
And this brings us right to the book's title, which is this incredible metaphor that ties absolutely everything we've been talking about together. It's all about the relationship between what we think we believe and what's really making us move.
So, here it is, the puppet. That's theology. It's the big, visible system of faith that we see performing on the world stage. But hidden underneath, pulling the strings, is the dwarf. And the dwarf is historical materialism. It's the messy, invisible, real-world struggle for justice that's secretly making the puppet dance. For Žižek, the belief is just the vehicle for the real struggle.
And that's where Žižek leaves us, with a challenge.
In our own lives, so full of these Kindereg promises, he's asking us to look past our own puppets, to ask, what's the hidden dwarf, the uncomfortable, material truth that's really pulling the strings of my beliefs? And could confronting that perverse truth be the most radical thing any of us can do?